After completing school, I resided with my older brother for a span of 4 years, pooling resources to rent an apartment since neither of us could afford it independently. However, in the 4th year, my brother began to earn better wages and decided to move out when the lease ended. As I could not manage the rent by myself, I looked for a roommate online for a few months, but ultimately decided to move out and find a cheaper place before the lease ended. As the deadline approached, my brother had already removed most of his possessions from the apartment, and the pressure was on me to locate a new residence with my limited budget. After scouring the internet, I stumbled upon a listing from a homeowner renting out a spare room in their house named Evan. I contacted Evan, and he promptly responded, providing me with more details. He lived alone in the house and rented out the additional bedroom, but I could utilize all the other rooms. I agreed to the terms, and a few weeks later, I moved my belongings into the house. Although Evan seemed like a regular man in his mid-30s, he was somewhat shy and not very conversational. After we finished unloading my belongings, I retired to my room for an early night's sleep, pleased with the new arrangement. As I approached my door to turn off the lights and lock it, I realized the doorknob was missing a lock. Perplexed, I opened the door to inquire about it with Evan in the living room. He appeared unaware of this and assured me he would fix it the next day. Though I found it strange, I decided not to worry much and returned to my room to sleep. Later that night, I woke up to Evan moving around in the kitchen. Assuming he was getting a drink of water, I closed my eyes and tried to go back to sleep. Shortly after, I heard him walking back toward his room, but he suddenly stopped in front of my door. I opened my eyes just in time to see him lock my exit from the outside before quickly returning to his room. Shocked and frightened, I tried the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I called Evan to unlock the door, and he eventually did so after a few moments of hesitation. I confronted him about his actions, and he claimed he only did it to ensure his safety, as he didn't know me very well. While I understood his concern, I clarified that locking someone in a room was inappropriate. I packed up and left the next day, spending the rest of the night on the couch in the living room. In the morning, I saw that Evan's bedroom door was still closed, indicating that he was likely still sleeping. I quickly loaded the U-Haul with my belongings and returned to the house. However, upon entering, I found that Evan's room was empty. Feeling uneasy, I hastily finished packing my last 2 boxes and left the house for good. I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease as I drove away from the house. I couldn't help but wonder what Evan's intentions were and why he had tried to trap me in the back of the U-Haul. I knew I had to find a new place to live as soon as possible. After a few days of staying with my brother, I searched for a new apartment. However, the experience at the old house gave me a newfound sense of caution. I thoroughly researched every potential property and landlord, and I even installed extra security measures in my new apartment. Looking back, I realize I had been too trusting and naive when I moved into that house. I had assumed that Evan was just a quiet and reserved person when there was something much darker beneath the surface. It was a scary experience, but it taught me always to be aware of my surroundings and trust my instincts. Story number 2, The Intruder. Last year, during winter, I moved into my first house ever. It was a beautiful and spacious home with a big backyard. However, moving in was a hassle because I had to do everything alone. I arrived with the truck early in the morning and shoveled all the snow off the driveway before bringing all the boxes and furniture inside. I finished late around dinner time, and since my bed was not yet set up, I slept on the uncomfortable couch downstairs. As I tried to fall asleep, I heard a strange noise from outside. It sounded like someone was walking up to my porch. I sat up and listened carefully, looking at the front door. The sound stopped just before they reached the door, though. I waited until I thought I was hearing things and fell asleep. In the morning, I woke up to find the front door unlocked. I was confident I had locked it before bed. I checked for any signs of someone walking outside, but nothing happened. I dropped off the truck and spent the whole day unpacking and setting up the rest of the furniture. By the end of the day, I mainly had everything done. As I returned from a quick dinner, I saw something strange in the snow outside my house. There were footsteps in the snow leading right up to my front door. I looked around and tried to follow the footprints from where they came, but they ended up by the sidewalk, which had already been shoveled. It could have just been a neighbor wanting to say hi, and that's the excuse I told myself to put me at ease. Before bed, I checked all the doors and windows and immediately noticed the front door was unlocked again. I got my key and tried it, making sure it worked and couldn't be opened without it, but everything seemed to work just as it was supposed to. I was confident I locked the door and kept it locked all day. I just didn't understand why this was happening though. Nothing was missing from the house, and there were no signs of an intruder. As I was getting out of the shower, I heard something downstairs. It was soft and hard to distinguish, but with everything going on, I had to check. I got dressed and walked down the stairs slowly. I turned the corner around the stairs, and right in the hallway was a man. He stood still, facing me, with the front door open behind him. I was in some shock and frozen in place. After a moment, I sprinted back up the stairs and locked myself in my room. I didn't hear him following me, but I was still terrified. Then I heard footsteps walking through the rooms downstairs. I took this chance to call the police, as the man downstairs continued walking around. After maybe 2 minutes, I heard the front door slam shut and the footsteps leaving the property. The police found nothing of use and suggested putting up security cameras and changing the locks on the door. I did both, but the man never came back. I almost wish he did so that I could catch him on the cameras, because now I feel like I'm just waiting in fear for him to come back every day. I'm not sure what he was doing or wanted to do, but I hope I never have to know. Story number 3 is about moving into a new house after being kicked out of their previous home due to their landlord's decision to sell. However, things quickly became unsettling when the middle-aged neighbor across the street began staring at them and never left his house. Anonymous noticed him standing outside at odd hours and dragging a ladder across his lawn late at night. They called the police when they heard someone walking in their fenced backyard and saw a figure standing far away in the darkness. Despite reporting the creepy behavior to the police, they were told there was no evidence of wrongdoing, and Anonymous was left to take precautions such as locking doors and windows. But one night, Anonymous woke up to a loud thud against their bedroom wall, only to find their neighbor's face inches away from their window, standing on a ladder. The police caught him trying to get down the ladder, and later, Anonymous discovered that their neighbors had also had strange encounters with the same neighbor. Subscribe for more updates.